Here's an interesting story for you guys. I told Steven, the other COE nutcase here on YouTube, about a new game I just discovered that was absolutely incredible. It's Astabreed, for those that don't know. He took a guess and said Shovel Knight, to which I replied, WTF is Shovel Knight? So after some swearing, belittling, and other obscenities, he said it was a new action platforming game that would really be up my alley. A quick Google search later and I realized what Shovel Knight was. It was a Kickstarter game that got funded last April, and I vividly recall their pitch video. Why I never gave them money is totally beyond me, because it turns out not only is this my style of game, but it too has jumped into my top 5 games of 2014 thus far. If you enjoy the retro scene or are just looking for a kick-ass game to play, go download Shovel Knight right now. Everything old is new again. Let's face facts here, people. The retro scene is on fire right now. Not only are countless indie developers releasing games that reminisce about the classic NES days, but the original carts themselves have exploded in value over the past 5 years. Just take a quick look at eBay and you'll see that even SNES games are crazy expensive. I mean, $50 for a loose cart of Super Metroid? For real? Enter Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight was developed by a startup indie developer called Yacht Club Games. And after this masterpiece, they're not going to be an unknown company for long. Shovel Knight successfully combined level design and boss elements from Mega Man, the awesome pogo gameplay from DuckTales, the overworld from Super Mario Bros. 3, and towns and NPC discussions from Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. It's not just a combination of these elements that make Shovel Knight so great, it's the fact that Yacht Club Games simply took inspiration from these classics, but developed their own unique style, flair, and game world. Everything about Shovel Knight screams classic NES, yet at the same time, it feels fresh enough to stand on its own, and that's what makes it such a wonderful experience. Each of the 8 Order of No Quarter feels like they were ripped directly from a Mega Man game. You have your underwater treasure Knight, there's the Ice World boss Polar Knight, and much, much more. The 8 world bosses are awesome. I love the throwback to Mega Man, and the fact that each boss and stage is so completely unique compared to the last only makes things that much better. The boss fights aren't scripted as well, which means while certain bosses have access to, say, 5 moves or so, how they attack you changes every time you fight them, and I really enjoyed that, as simple pattern recognition isn't going to be enough to beat these guys. You really have to learn their moves. I already mentioned the overworld map system is taken directly from Super Mario Bros. 3, but I love how they have adapted it to fit this unique world. While Shovel Knight moves from one area to the next, occasionally there might be a minor boss fight that pops up. You have access to special gem areas that you can only traverse with a special power-up, and much, much more. Core gameplay is simple, but completely spot on. You can jump, attack, or perform a downward thrust with your shovel. Along the way, you can gain access to secondary attacks, which use little jars of magic. Think of it like the heart system from the classic Castlevania games. You can eventually find relics that allow you to punch through rocks, shoot flames, and much more. Weapon and armor upgrades are more than just for show. You can purchase upgrades that allow you to activate a powerful swipe attack after 2 successful bounces off enemies or blocks. You can get a charge shot, sort of like Mega Man would use, or even a beam attack from the vintage Zelda games when your health is full. You earn gems and diamonds from digging up treasure, defeating enemies, and virtually everything else you can imagine. The more loot you have, the more you can upgrade your health, your magic container number, and so on. Die though, and a portion of your loot appears in 3 flying bags. Taken from Diablo, the only way to get your stolen loot back is to head where you died and collect it yourself. There's also a New Game Plus mode, and if you're looking for a challenge, this is certainly the mode you're going to want to play through. Finish the game, which takes, I'd say under 10 hours. I was able to do it in around 5 hours or so, but hey, that's just me. Once you're done, restart the game with all your previous equipment, but prepare to get your ass handed to you as the game is much, much harder. Level design, character design, and overall graphics are fantastic. The game looks as if it were ripped straight from an NES and given the HD treatment. Not since Mega Man 9 or 10 has a retro game looked this good. The sound design is exactly the same. It sounds perfectly unique, featuring catchy tunes and great sound effects. Both audio-visual come together perfectly to establish Shovel Knight as Yacht Club Games' mascot moving forward. They're gonna have a lot of work ahead of them if they want to top this. There is one element that I can't say is negative, but I will say it's depending on its future. You see, the levels are 100% linear, even though they do feature a couple of hidden paths here and there. The design isn't really enough to warrant multiple playthroughs once you've finished the initial campaign in the New Game Plus. So that test is essentially, will this game stand the test of time like all those games it was originally based on? And for that, I can't answer, only time will tell. Shovel Knight is the best Kickstarter release game I've played to date. Yes, I even enjoyed it more than Broken Age. I know, for shame. There's just something about these throwback games I love. Shovel Knight takes the best of what made the original classic so much fun to play and spices things up just enough to make it feel unique. If you own a Wii U, 3DS, or a somewhat capable PC, I wholeheartedly recommend you purchase Shovel Knight. It's retro gaming at its absolute best. For more on Shovel Knight, be sure to check out the full written review at projectcoe.com.